So today we're at SliderCuts. Currently 5:35 in the morning AM. Yeah, so we're gonna see what we can do for us today. See what we've got planned. So you put a post up the other day saying about, what you put up on your social media represents you.
Yeah,
People will judge you on it, right?
Yeah, because you choose to put it up there.
Yeah.
So if there's anything anybody can judge you by, I think it can be by your social media, because you chose to say, I want this up for everyone to see it, and I want this up representing me. So you can't complain that people judge you by what you put up on your social media pages. There are just things like, I was talking to someone the other day. They wanted a job with me, and I thought it was just strange because it wasn't actually like a massive deal, but in this conversation they swore, and I just thought there's some basic things which have been lost in this current generation of things you just knew in the previous generation you just didn't do. Because it doesn't matter whether or not maybe this person cusses and swears and all that kind of stuff there, but when you're kind of in the interviews setting, or you're asking someone for a job, as they say, you mind your P's and Q's. You put yourself out there a certain way. So even it's like a basic thing of like not swearing. Like you wouldn't go to a job interview and swear.
Of course.
Or use certain language. You might get into that job, and you might see the culture, the environment. That's what they're doing, and then you might adapt and say you're doing that. But when you're in an interview, you put your best foot forward. So you don't make assumptions and say, okay, but I think this guy might swear, or this guy doesn't mind. No, you just kind of present yourself in a certain way, and then you try to get the job, and then you work out the environment, and then see what's appropriate and what's not appropriate.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
It's about knowing yourself. I work well, quote unquote freestyling. I just need to know the subject. And I just need to know what I need to talk on. And also if it's just things which I already know, then it's not really an issue to me, quote unquote freestyling, because it's like me just talking about doing a skin fade. I don't need to rehearse right now to talk about how to do a skin fade, because I've been rehearsing over the years of talking on camera and doing tutorials and so on. That has been my rehearsal time. So now if you ask me on the spot, how do you do a skin fade, and can you tell these 50 people how to do a skin fade, and I go there and I do it, and it's like, we didn't even have any time to rehearse. Well, I did have time to rehearse, because I've been doing it. So that's why it's like, I don't want to make it out like, I'm just a guy, and just like, I don't need no preparation. It's kind of like, I've been preparing. Also, when I do talk, generally, I don't like the idea of just sticking to the talk. I like to respond to the audience, because I can go there and prepare a whole talk. But the issue is, if the audience don't seem like they're engaging, or the audience don't seem like they're interested, I have to change it on the spot anyway, or else it's just going to be, you spoke about what you wanted to speak about, great, but the audience didn't care. But on the other side of things, I sometimes over talk and over explain points. So rehearsing is actually a good thing, because it can help me to kind of like deliver my point in lesser words. Because I'm just over talking because of going over the same point. So even when I do videos, I have to edit down my videos. It's because I might be talking for like 3 minutes. And when I listen back to it, I'm like, okay, you know what? I've said that point and gone over that point like 3 or 4 times. Like, I don't know why I said it again, but that's just a thing on my...
You come up with the name SliderCuts.
How did I come up with the name?
Yeah.
My nickname growing up was Slider, and that was from MCing when I was at MC. That was my nickname. That was my MC name. And when I got into barbering, and I was setting up a website for myself, that was like 2010, something like 2010. I was setting up a website for myself, and I was like, oh, what we're gonna call the website? And everyone referred to me as Slider. That was almost my name. So I was already clear that, you know, almost like whatever I did for my barbering was going to be Slider something. So I was just thinking about a name at that point. And my wife and my older brother, they were like, I was thinking, okay, Slider the barber, I guess it just, you know, explains what I do. You know, I'm a barber, you hear it. And my older brother and my wife, both at the same time actually, was like, oh no, maybe Slider, and they both said Cuts.
Stuck with it.
Yep. Do you keep your moustache when you shape up thick? Like, you want it thin?
Yeah, I like it thin.
Thick?
Like I had like an angle almost.
Cool.
Like,
Cool.
do you think there's truth that if you get your hair cut too often, it won't grow back in time? Or if your hair will go like recede?
There is truth in it, yeah. And it depends how often you're talking about. So I said this to people, especially when it comes to, let's say, example, beards.
Yeah.
If you come here every week and want your beard shaped up and want it super sharp every week with no enhancements,
Yeah.
all that's going to happen is you're going to see over a period of time your beard line is going lower. Because if I sharpen up your beard right now and I cut it and I shape it up where it's at right now.
Yeah. Lower, you think so?
No, I'm saying, yeah, as I do it right now,
Yeah.
if you come back here in a week's time, or maybe even less, or a week's time, and you want it shaped up again, and you want it as clean as last week's one, I've got nothing to actually carve it out anymore.
So you're going to have to naturally go lower.
I'm going to have to go lower to create a cleaner line. You know, so that's what happens. That's why you see when people come off and with beards, it's kind of like it starts off here, and eventually you see them shaping them down here. Because what has to happen is, and the customer and the client has to understand this, is they'll be like, I'm going to shape up your beard, and if you're going to come next week, it's going to be a light shape up, so it's not going to be maybe as sharp as the week before. But the client just has to understand that it just can't keep getting it as sharp without bringing a line down. So I've had to explain that to some of my clients. You know, we're going to keep coming this often. You will see one week it's sharp, the other week is it's just, not as sharp.
I'll be honest, my eye's not really good for the sharpness, you know.
Yeah.
I don't really notice. Like on the shape up, for example, I could say you haven't even used a cutthroat.
Yeah.
To me, that looks sharp.
Yeah, but that's because like it is funny that people often say that to me, and they ask me, well, how have you got it this sharp without a cutthroat? Because you don't need a cutthroat to make a hairline sharp.
Yeah.
That's an illusion. People think, oh, because it's a cutthroat and it's a blade, your hairline must come out sharp. And that's the big mistake so many barbers make as to why someone can't cut hair properly, because it's these myths, like which doesn't, when you break it down, doesn't actually make any logical sense. It's like, to get a sharp hairline, it's not actually about the sharpness of your instrument. You obviously want an instrument that is sharp, but you're actually just carving out a shape. So what you're actually doing is carving out the cleanest line from the hair that's there. That's what a shape up is. Carving out a clean line from the hair. So when people feel like, okay, well, you know, I want it to be sharper, so can you use the blade on my hair? A blade is not making your hairline sharper. If your trimmers can catch the hair, the blade is not making your hairline sharper. What it is doing is, if you've got like close hairline and you've got regrowth, the blade is good because the blade is obviously taking that closer to skin. But unless you're like a hairline like yours, a blade does nothing in the slightest. Okay. It does nothing at all. And all I hear customers say is, you know, and it's funny because they're questioning me like, well, how did you get this shot without using a blade? Yeah. And I hear barbers say the same thing to me. Yeah. Right, you got that shot without a blade. Yeah. You know, or mine was not that sharp and I use a blade. And it's like, that's the reason why you're not getting sharp hairline. Because your ideology around what creates a sharp hairline is wrong. Yeah. So you think, oh, right, I'm going to use a sharp instrument and suddenly it's going to be sharp. No, there's a skill. It's carving out a shape. And it's carving out the cleanest line you can from the hair that is there. And that's what gives someone a sharp shape up. It's not having a blade. And there are times when a blade is helpful. And that could be maybe someone's got low hair to some degree or coarse hair and the the trimmers aren't catching the hair properly. So the blade, you're using a blade to catch the hair better. So that's where it's working out, you know, where it's kind of like, you know, the blade is working better than the trimmers.
What's the hardest thing about being a business owner?
Managing people.
You've got a lot of people to manage.
Yeah. There's like 11 barbers, like 4 receptionists, a PA.
So when you say managing people, do you mean keeping them in the same wavelength that you want the barbershop to be running, sort of thing?
Yeah, it's all of that, you know, just like people just push boundaries. If you're a worker, you push boundaries. And this is just like universal. This is not even like exclusive to barbering. It's universal. I hear people come in who've got jobs. Like everyone's got a job. Yeah. I mean, people who work for people. You know, you hear them like all you ever hear is this war with, even if someone likes where they work. Yeah. There's always this subconscious war between the worker and the boss. Yeah. What can you get away with? Oh, the boss is asking me to come in a little bit early, but I'm not getting paid. No way. Oh, he's asking me to come in early. Watch, I'm leaving. I'm going to leave early. There's always just kind of like a thing which is kind of like which they can't help, which is you're fighting against the authority, like nature, like just like a rebellion thing. People just, you know, just want to do things, you know, just like things they know that they're not supposed to. You know, it could be as small as you've got a uniform. Oh yeah, can I wear my own thing today because I forgot my uniform at home? No. Yeah. But you're feeling hard done by. Yeah. Why did you leave your uniform at home? Yeah. I've had questions from people. Why did you leave your uniform home? Oh, why didn't you wear your uniform to work? Oh, I didn't want to wear my uniform to work. That's what. So why is that my business? If you wake up in the morning, put on your trousers, put on your jumper, put on your shirt, and come to work with your uniform, you'll never forget anything because you're wearing your uniform. Yeah. The fact that you're like, oh, I thought I put the shirt in my bag, or I thought this and that. That's cool. If you don't wear your uniform to work, that is fine. But now it's kind of like, oh, it's cold in here, and I've got my jumper at home. Is it okay if I wear my own jumper? And then you're going to feel like I'm doing you something wrong by saying no. Because you don't want to wear your jumper to work for whatever reason, because you don't want to wear that jumper, because you want to wear your Louis Vuitton, whatever it is, right? All good. But now you're going to feel like, you're going to act like I am doing you wrong, and the boss is horrible because the boss won't let me wear my thing on the shop floor, as example, right? Okay, that as example, if I would allow one person to wear in a odd scenario, all that happens is people don't care about that person's reason. Well, what happens is someone else is like, but this person's done it. And I've had it in here, where I spoke to someone about their uniform and they said, oh yeah, but you know, you never said anything to that person, or you know, that person's done it how many times, and it's like, all people do is care about themselves, and this is why managing people is hard, because people don't even understand that when I have to be strict with you and just say no now, it's because you don't realize that if I don't even say no now, even if you've got a very good reason, all that happens is you come in tomorrow and you're like, right, well I saw X doing it, and how come I can't do it? And, you know, but X can do it, and it's just like people just can't help it. They just want to push the boundaries, and that is the difficulty about running a business. In the industry, is more than a haircut. You know, the haircut is obviously the core of what you do, but there are loads of other elements that add to this trade.
Like for me, as a client, there's been, but what do you know, like if you know someone, say you got a client, you know he's always late. Do you ever like, if he asks you for a morning appointment, do you say, nah, I've only got evening?
Well, my appointments are done online, so if you miss your appointment, you pay for your appointment.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like you book your appointment, and if you miss it, you have to pay for it. And that's kind of more so the way I kind of deal with it. It's like, you know, you run a little bit late, call you, speak to you, and then like it happened the other day with a client, always running late, and then I always try to squeeze you in. That's the thing. But my aim is not here to not cut your hair and say, you know, I can't cancel it because, you know, I'm here. Yeah. And also, if you'd have cancelled and rescheduled it in advance, then I could have potentially found someone else who wanted that space, or I wouldn't have come in. Yeah. You know, because one of the two things, I wouldn't have come in here this early. Also, someone else would have wanted that space to book it. So, you know, if I refund it, I'm losing money because, you know, you get your money back. I lose that time which someone else would have. And if you have reality, someone else would have booked too. You know, because I'm booked up. Right? Because in a client said, a lot of times it's kind of like, I paid for a haircut that I didn't get. And that's all it is. But they don't realize you're not paying only for the haircut, you're paying for the time. That's what a lot of clients don't realize. It's more than just their haircut. Whether you get a haircut or not, because that's what clients are like, but how can I be paying and I never got a haircut? Because you booked my time. It's like saying, it's like missing, and what we don't get is it's like missing your flight. It's like, why are you paying for a flight you never went on? Because you paid for the seats. So whether or not you made it on that seat or not, you know, you pay for that, you know, and someone else could be next to someone else could be using that seat, lying across them thing, but you pay for that, you know. And it's what a lot of people don't realize, you know, you just can't, people just don't get it, you can't just not show up, or, you know, and this is another thing for me as well with people, it's like, often people call and be like, yeah, sorry, I couldn't get my appointment there, yeah. This is that I was after your appointment. Yeah, let me reschedule it or something like that. And it's like,
Thank you very much.
do you like any spray?
You made this one yourself.
I just don't water it down.
Nah, it smells like.